1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, good morning. I am James Hake of the Hake Report, and you're watching the Hake Report. It is Tuesday, July, what is it? The 16th, 2019. Tomorrow's my birthday. 9 a.m. Pacific time in the fourth hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show video streams. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Get the audio stream. If you can't watch on video, you can get the audio stream only on jlptalk.com. jlptalk.com and click to listen. And you can use it through that thing. You can listen through that thing, I believe. I don't believe that TalkStream Live is servicing my show yet. And recordings, audio recordings go up later, as well as video. I put it up on my channel too. You can find it by going to thehakereport.com/podcast on a few different platforms: iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud. By the way, we have pictures basically thumbnail pictures from. We put out a 1992 Black History Month episode of the Jesse Peterson Show. It was before Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Peterson Show, talking about problems and solutions within the black community. We put that first part out last night, evening, afternoon, night, depending on where you're in the country that you are, or outside of the country, maybe morning for some of you. And still relevant stuff today. Jesse talks about a lack of love, a lack of forgiveness in the black community. Part 2 premieres on YouTube late this afternoon, evening, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Jesse Lee Peterson's YouTube channel. So check that out and join into the live chat. Jesse had a beard back then, too. Cool, huh? Young blacks didn't want to forgive white people for some perceived or imaginary wrong by whites. And remember, before I get to the calls, you can call in 888-775-3773. Remember, I wanted to get to the Bill of Rights, well, at least the first 2 amendments to the Constitution. I got this from ushistory.org. The original 10 Commandments, the Bill of Rights, passed by Congress September 25th, 1789. By the way, happy White History Month, everybody. All people should be celebrating White History Month because it's something to celebrate. Ratified December 15th, 1791, the Bill of Rights. There was, from what I heard, the Bill of Rights those rights were so obvious that some founding fathers, from what I heard, didn't even want to write them down, didn't want to mention them, because if you write them down, then they can be taken away, kind of thinking maybe. And they shouldn't have had to be written, but they wrote them anyways because they wanted to make sure the government didn't infringe on these rights, which they're doing. So here's the first 2 amendments. Amendment 1, Freedoms, Petitions, Assembly. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. I noticed grammar Nazi stuff. They said peaceably to assemble rather than to peaceably assemble. They didn't like to split infinitives. Infinitives are verbs when you say to assemble, to be, to petition, blah, blah, blah. If you put a word in between the to and the assemble, that's called a split infinitive. Just, some of you may know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I can explain it more clearly than that. Anyways, those rights are being infringed by people that want to act. It's ridiculous. So stupid. By the people that want to pretend like they're for the Constitution and the First Amendment. Amendment 2, the right to bear arms. Look at this one. Very simple language, just one quick sentence. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Well, my reaction The right to own and carry weapons is very infringed here and now in what they call the People's Republic of California, acting like it's a communist China, California, whatever, as well as infamously New Jersey and elsewhere around the country. I remember Jesse interviewed one man, Brian Aitken, who moved to New Jersey after a divorce, and he had his guns stored properly, stowed, locked, and everything. He was moving to New Jersey from like Colorado or somewhere, and this was after a divorce. And he had called ahead to the local government, checking about, the local laws about transporting weapons, because nowadays you don't really have the right to carry or own or transport your own guns, your own property. So anyways, he tried to do everything right, but his worrying mother, shameful, called the police on him as he was driving his moving truck to move to New Jersey, thinking he was suicidal or something because he was distraught over the divorce. Beta, but whatever. Cut him some slack. Everybody goes through their issues. And so these cops pull him over, searched his truck, and found the guns and arrested him. And a liberal judge, of course, sentenced him to something like 3 years in prison and got him on, I think, a felony or something. He got out after 4 months, maybe longer. But Governor Chris Christie, the Republican, the big guy, commuted his sentence after about 4 months, I think. And this man, but still, after that even, he lost custody of his daughter because he had a daughter with the ex-wife. And his life was hell after that. He's since remarried, and maybe he has his daughter back, but what a mess. And part of the problem is we've allowed our rights to be taken away. And for the First Amendment, the ridiculous fake atheists that I referenced pretend like the Ten Commandments, those decorations, people put up the Ten Commandments, or they put up a cross. There was a World War I memorial of a cross that was over 100 years old, dedicated to veterans and fallen soldiers, I think. The atheists act like that's a law because the First Amendment clearly says Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. They're so weak that they hate even to see that we're reminders that we're a Christian nation. Unfortunately, kind of like Jesse alluded, it's Christians' fault for being fake and weak Christians. Nowadays, Christians brag about being imperfect. I see it a lot, especially amongst the liberals, but conservatives too. They say you can't be perfect when Jesus said to be perfect. And so that's partly why we're losing our First Amendment rights too. And the radical homosexuals, as Jesse aptly calls them, are trying to force Christians and children to go along with them, acting like their wrong lifestyle is right, which is not. Unfortunately, Christians pretend that it's a special sin that's worse than their own sin, not seeing that their own sin is what's leading to the degeneration of society and their children and everything, if they even have children anymore. White babies. I noticed that the conservative Christians want to blame the media, the Democrats, or, anybody. They'll blame people for doing evil. And Jesse Lee Peterson makes a great point that those are evil people doing evil's job. You can't blame them for doing their job. When will the good people do our job or do their job? Am I a good person? And the government violates the rights of the people by enforcing these anti-discrimination laws. That's right. All these laws that say that whites can't discriminate against blacks, or blacks can't discriminate against whites, or Christians can't discriminate against homosexuals and all that stuff. Discrimination is a human right. And the Supreme Court in like the 70s, I want to say, or maybe earlier, 68 maybe, they decided in a NAACP versus Alabama that the First Amendment also implied the freedom of association, because if you're free to associate, then you can associate with a group of people to make your voice louder or whatever, build up your platform, can become more influential. And so you have a freedom of association. So you also have a freedom not to associate. If you're a business that you don't want to associate with certain people for whatever reason, certain clientele, you should have that right. But the government violates that right. And discrimination is a human right, freedom of association. All people discriminate, but only the Christians, the men, the whites are attacked for it because they're the only ones standing in the way of the evil people. Unfortunately, the whites, the Christians, the men are becoming weaker and weaker about it. So that's why the founders were right when they said that you cannot have freedom without morality. The more immoral and out of control the people are, the less freedom they have. You'll notice that's why so many blacks are in jails and prisons and stuff like that. And that's why we're losing our freedom of speech, because people don't believe in the spirit of freedom of speech anymore. They're so brainwashed to believe in racism and so-called hate speech. These are educated people. The more educated, they're dumber. They believe in this idea of hate speech. And leftists are so dumb, believing a phrase or a word is racist. Like, who hasn't been told to go back to their country? Whites have been told, go back to your country. Whites have been told, go back to Europe by vindictive, mean people. And so you can say that phrase out of love or hate. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to get to some calls. Let's see. John, out of Chicago, Illinois. John, how are you?
I'm good, Jim. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, good to talk to you again, man. I'm actually, it's crazy that's what you're talking about. That's what I'm calling about, this AOC plus 3, these radical wannabe terrorists, probably are terrorists. You know, we just don't know it. But I was wondering, man.
You're referring to the congresswomen as terrorists?
Say it again?
You're referring to these Democrat congresswomen of color as terrorists?
Yes, absolutely. But I don't mean that literally, but I'm saying, you know.
I understand what you mean. Yeah, they're anti-American for sure, and they're helping to destroy the nature of America. That's true. Yeah,
did you see?
It's a nice
did you see
metaphor.
The footage?
Yeah. The footage of what?
I think it wasn't Ilham Omar. It's the black one. Is that Ilham or is that
Ayanna Presley? Ayanna Presley is the full black woman, and then Ilhan Omar is the skinny black woman.
Okay, yeah, I'm talking about Ilham.
Okay.
I guess, yeah, she considers herself
right.
Black as the ace of spades, but we all know she's just a fake black. Anyway, did you see the footage where they were asking her to condemn this guy who went and tried to light the ICE facility on fire, and she would not respond? She just had that little demonic look on her face and was walking.
I saw that. I didn't see the Ilhan Omar one getting questioned, but I think it was a Rebel Media Canadian journalist asking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez if she would condemn the terrorist act by that Antifa activist who got himself killed. And she said, we're going to be putting out statements later. We're going to be putting out statements later. And then she just kept staying mute. And so, yeah, I did see the AOC woman doing that.
Just amazing. And, man, I wanted to make a quick comment. So, again, I'm, we talked before, I'm the carpenter from Chicago.
Okay.
And the union in Chicago is, like, super, super push the Democrat, lies. But there's a lot of guys, man, because I listen to, I go through a tradition every day. I listen to Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and then I put Jesse on. We start at 6, so it's like 8 o'clock by the time Jesse starts for us.
Saving the best for last.
Oh, yeah, man, yeah. And then now it's nice that I got, to take my day further. I got you for the hour, too. So,
right on.
A lot of guys have come up to me, and, like, even last summer, I had a couple guys, come and talk trash, but there's a lot of guys coming up to me, and, like, they're on board. They know, they see the lies, so it's just, I want to send a message. A lot of people are waking up and not believing the lies.
I saw a Facebook comment from a guy who follows the Jesse Lee Peterson Show Facebook page, which is being somewhat halfway censored for fake hate speech. But he said that it used to be just me listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson Show and talking and supporting Trump, and I would just whisper amongst some coworkers. But now there's a whole group, and they're not whispering anymore. I guess they're talking at breaks or break time or something. Sometime, hopefully, that's an appropriate time to talk politics as opposed to during work. But now they're becoming less and less afraid, which is nice. I like hearing stories of people that are not afraid to just stand up, but that are not doing it in a crazy way or getting themselves fired or, at risk in any way. But that's just having normal courage, bringing back America. Because America used to be a free country, and you used to be able to believe what you want and all that stuff. But now they scaremonger about, you're Nazis, and they're not allowed to be a Nazi. Stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, it just blows my mind that people believe these lies. Like, I listened to Ingram today.
Stay close to the phone,
from
John.
last night, and this guy is just carrying on and on and on about how racist it is that Trump said, "Go back to your own country if you don't like it here." That's
right.
not racist. There's nothing racist about that. It's just a regular statement that, like, every American wants to make, but they just don't. They believe in these lies, and they scared.
Yeah, people don't even allow themselves to think that way sometimes. Like, they're shocked by hearing Jesse say it or Trump say it, but then it kind of shakes them back to reality where, no, that's a logical, common sense thing to say. And it is true that they do hate America, these women do, these Democrat congresswomen. Most liberals do. I was thinking about this, shaming Nazis and punching them in the face and all that stuff that the media advocates for. And they're liberals. It should be every bit as much of a shame to be a liberal or a feminist or pro-abortion as it is to be a so-called Nazi, because they're every bit as murderous, killing babies and standing by, letting the blacks kill one another, and letting the illegals come in and kill people through DUIs. Driving. A lot of them drive intoxicated, and unlicensed drivers or all kinds of madness, rapists, murderers, drug lords, all that mess. They are every bit as bad as the so-called Nazis that they fearmonger about. But they only want to deal with one thing. You'll notice that evil people call out evil wrong. And I've used the term evil in the broadest sense, like everybody who's remotely evil, which includes like basically everybody, does not call out evil in the right way. They want to cast it just as like globalists or Nazis or whatever. Whoever their preferred, most hated evil people are, or some people are not even evil, like Trump is not even evil, but they want to call him the worst. They're the ones that are evil themselves. And that's why I think they miss the point. That's why I like Jesse's term of breaking it down to good versus evil, as opposed to all these terms like Democrat, Republican. Yes, Republican platform is on the side of right and Democrats are on the side of wrong. But all these names can get confusing, and you lose track of the basic battle of good versus evil, checking yourself for the evil to deal with the evil within. So I don't know. I'm just on a tangent, but
yeah, no, it's all good, man. It blows my mind there. But anyway, one more thing. I have White History Month right across. This is a big job. It's probably like 200 guys on job.
Stay close to your phone, John.
You're
coming in and out, John. Stay close to your phone.
Oh, okay. So
you have White History Month. What?
White History Month. I have it spread across the job. Everyone knows about it.
Oh, nice.
And I've gotten mostly positive feedback.
Cool. Right on. Yeah, because it should be a positive thing. That's what it's for, is bringing whites back into America.
Heck yeah, man. Keep it up. I'll call again, all right?
All right. Take care, John. Nice to hear from you, man.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye. David, out of Kentucky. How are you, man?
Hey, Jane.
Hey.
Fine.
Nice to hear from you.
I was listening to Jesse this morning, and he was talking about the new black lady on 007.
Yes.
And I remember not too long ago when Will Smith tried to be James West on the Wild Wild West, and that turned out to be the biggest flop they ever made.
I don't even remember that. It must have been real bad. I can't even picture it.
I wouldn't go see it because I like James West. I like everything it was, and then they changed it all around.
Yeah.
And do you know when the first food stamp was cashed?
No.
1961.
Wow.
Because of John F. Kennedy. If it
That's
wasn't
not
for
a
him,
positive thing.
there would be no problem today.
You know, I can't just lay it at the hands of him, at the feet of him, because this socialism
if it wasn't
stuff.
if he begged the blacks and everything to vote for him, so he would just give them everything.
I had never heard
And
that.
since-
That's crazy. Shame on him.
Since then, it ain't been right.
Yeah, but
And-
I want to say, David, that it's been since before then. It hasn't been right.
Not really, because before then, everybody that needed a little handout,
Yeah.
the government gave them a box of food.
Oh, okay.
That was
The
to
government cheese?
supplement and help them along with what they were making.
Yeah.
And then when the Cuban flu came from Cuba to America to seek asylum, they did not like American food. So they wanted more food stamps so they could eat their tacos.
Wow. I did not know this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for the white history. That's a shameful episode of White History Month. Of white history.
And then I was also reading the Queen of England's all messed up because Prince Harry's mulatto wife, she's selling product, beauty aids, out of the back door, and she's not allowed to do that.
I had
She's
not
allowed
heard
to
that. Meghan Markle is selling beauty
Yep.
stuff. She's working for
beauty
Avon or
products.
something.
Yeah, she's got a business going out the back door, more or less.
Of the
And the
is she
Queen
living
said
in the palace?
Yeah.
Oh
and
man.
the Queen said, no, you
Good.
can't do that.
Yeah.
And she said she snubbed her nose at her.
Man.
And
Jesse is so
and,
right that the whites bring this on themselves.
and here in Kentucky, and I also have a home in Tennessee,
Uh-huh.
I carry my 45 on my hip,
Nice. Right on, man.
open carry.
That is cool.
I'm 69, and I've never had a felony.
Good, man.
And I feel bad about that guy in New Jersey.
Yeah.
He's got a felony. If he moved to Kentucky, he's got that felony, so that means he can't have a gun here.
You know, I don't know where he stands with that. Jesse has interviewed Brian Aitken a couple of times now, and I'm not sure where he
Right.
stands exactly with it. But I don't know if it was pardoned by Trump or what happened. I've kind of lost track of what happened there. But
Well,
It's such
is
a shame.
California an open carry state?
that's a good question. For some reason, I feel like it might be, but I also feel like if you're caught driving with a gun in your car and you're not on your way to the gun range or on the way from the gun store or to it or whatever, then they're like, what are you doing? You have no business carrying this weapon, and you can get in trouble for it. And
No.
people do get in trouble just for possession of a gun. They're acting like it's
Illinois
Drugs.
is the only state that states if you have a weapon, it must be unloaded and it must be
Oh, yeah.
in the trunk of your car where you cannot get to it.
with the trigger lock and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
with
feel
the
that that's
Illinois is the only state.
okay. But I feel like you have to do that basically in California too. And I don't know if the law is on the books or if the cops don't know the laws. A lot of these cops are all kinds of different people that don't necessarily know the Constitution or the California law. And I like cops too, but a lot of them just don't know, and a lot of them are liberals. And
Well,
then
I'm
it's a
originally
mess.
from Florida. There, you could only have a concealed weapons permit. But Tennessee and Kentucky, if I leave my house and I want to say like go to the gun range,
yeah.
it's on my hip.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I heard like a judge ruled for constitutional carry. Basically,
Right.
like you have the right to carry arms. It's in the First Amendment. And so we've had that for a brief time here and there in California. But it's such a mess that California is so hostile to the Second Amendment. It's so nasty here. So you don't want to
You know?
you don't want to do anything remotely
And
questionable in their minds.
Right. And something else in Florida now.
Yeah.
Now they've started medical marijuana. So if you get a medical marijuana card, they can take your driver's license away.
Are you serious? Yeah,
I'm dead serious.
That is my concern about this so-called they're trying to destigmatize mental illness, so-called mental illness, and I think that that's what they're trying to do with the veterans. A lot of veterans have this thing that they call PTSD, and they are traumatized, a lot of them, but they want to use, I just see it coming, if it's not already happened, that they want to use that as an excuse to take away the Second Amendment for the veterans, who are like the best trained, our best line of defense against corruption and crime and everything.
I'm supposed to be at the VA hospital Monday, and all I can say is the VA now, today, is becoming very, very socialist.
Yeah.
They're not really for the veteran. They're for the Democrats.
Thanks, Obama. And everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I say everybody.
Really. Oh, yeah.
But anyways.
The fallen Messiah.
Yep. Man, it's nice to hear from you, David.
It's always great to talk to you, James.
Cool. Thank you for the white history lesson, and I appreciate it.
Anytime, buddy.
All right, take
Anytime.
care. Bye. Bart, first-time caller out of New Jersey. Bart, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, I want to make a contribution to White History Month, I guess.
Okay, cool.
So the thing that I wanted to talk about was a democracy.
All right.
I don't know if you guys know, but the Founding Fathers didn't really mention democracy in the Constitution.
Yeah.
The Declaration of Independence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so technically we're a republic, and I don't know, that's something I want other people to know because it's actually very important. Because I know that nowadays in the school system, because I also go to school, they're already telling that democracy means freedom, and that's not necessarily true.
Yep, that's exactly right. You're so right about that. You know, I hear, let me just cut in briefly. I hear, before I think about it, before I lose my train of thought, like I hear these people on these, you know, TV shows, TV series, being all dramatic. I want to save our democracy. And it's always just liberal talk. It's just drama. Anyways, go on with your point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing. They keep talking about democracy, this, and it's pretty funny because we have two sides. There's a Republican, there's Republicans and there's Democrats, right? And obviously one side's like technically a democracy they're voting for, and the other one's voting for Republicans, right? The Republic.
Yeah.
So, everyone should realize that what side we should be really following, what our Founding Fathers actually had in mind. And like I said, everyone should look up that, like with the Founding Fathers, because they intentionally did that. They didn't like a democracy. They didn't want a democracy.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because then the majority can't vote away the freedoms of the white people and the Christians and the men, which is what they're trying to do. And themselves, to be honest. Anyways, go on.
Yeah,
you know what? You're right.
That's all I really want to know.
Yeah,
everybody know.
A constitutional republic is built and designed to protect the rights of the people, but the people have to be moral. And the more immoral we are, the more we turn into a immoral democracy, and it's a mess. It's a shame.
Yeah, that's another thing that's interesting to talk about, because I know one of the Founding Fathers, I'm not sure exactly which one, but I'm pretty sure they said something in the form of that, because a lot of people keep saying that we're not, country that's like based off of Christianity, but that's not necessarily true. Our Founding Fathers were all Christians one way or another. I think they're like Protestant or whatever. But one of the Founding Fathers did say something about that they believe that our Constitution and our type of country and its laws will only be for a moral people with religion.
Yeah.
And that's another type of quote. I forget exactly how it went, but it's something in that kind of basis where religion is definitely something part of definitely the country and the foundation of this nation.
You know, I've gone to a lot of Jesse's speeches to different groups and organizations, and one of the things he says is you cannot rule over a moral people. You have to demoralize them, take away their morals in order to rule over them, and that's how they started ruling over the blacks, because the blacks lost their morality. They lost their fathers. They just surrendered what's right for the sake of bribery from the government and victimhood and anger and stuff like that. They became angry, and so they became easily controlled. And he's so right about that. And that's happening to all races now, shamefully. But a few are waking up, thanks to
I think we talked
Trump.
about something like that before, but it's a username, I think it was under Trenix or something like that. That's actually me. I don't know if you guys know, but
Okay.
I know that we talked about like the N-word before.
Yeah.
And I really think that as long as that word is going to affect black people, I think that definitely equality will never really happen. I mean, it's pretty sad if you really think about it, that a word can make people, go nuts and attack each other.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
Yeah.
It's emotion, basically.
Same thing with what Trump just did with those 4 Democrat congresswomen. When he said that, it made half the country, or maybe a third of the country, go nuts. And meanwhile, the rest of us are like, what's the big deal? He told the truth. It's so nice, so refreshing. But yeah, you make a good point. It's like it's a symbol. The fact that the N-word is such a big deal to shallow people, liberals, blacks, and even whites.
Think about it.
It means that people are controlled by something stupid rather than what's right. So, yeah, you're right about that.
And if you also think about it with white people, I mean, they could on air say, like, all the words possible, all the derogatory terms, and white people generally don't care. That's why they can say it, because nobody really cares. Even if a black person or any other person says it, I mean, white people generally laugh. They don't really care.
Yep, that's
and I
true.
think if that doesn't change with the black community, where you can't just say any word possible and you get offended or whatever, then that can be problematic.
Yeah, they want to punish the whites. It's shameful. All right, Bart, nice to hear from you, man. Thank you for the white history contribution. We are a republic, not a democracy.
Yeah, no problem. Later, man. You're
All right,
doing a
take
great
care.
job.
Thank you. I have multiple callers, but yesterday I wasn't able to get to my favorite caller, Maze, out of Dayton, Ohio. So I'm going to get to you now, Maze. Nice to hear from you.
Yes. The person that called in was talking about rations and food stamps.
David from Kentucky.
And, what Kennedy did, it was Johnson, January 31st, 1964, that started the poverty program for poor people, meaning him too. So I don't know where they get that these programs are set up for black people. Because
how are you going to hold on? Let me jump in there. How are you going to include David from Kentucky as the poor people? How do you know that he was poor?
Because he probably gets a government program too.
How are you going to speculate with probably? You can't go with probably. That's basically slander. I said, how are you going to speculate?
And he want to walk around with
brain
a pistol
power.
and harm somebody, and he's supposed to be a Christian. You're right.
That's brain laziness. Come on.
No, it's not laziness.
Yeah.
So
You said he probably used food
for
stamps.
people like him.
Huh?
So let's get it straight. They always want to put blacks in it, but they don't know the benefits that they getting out of it. Just like the farmers. That's the biggest welfare program it is in America. The farmers. And who always going to give the farmers money?
I'm not going to argue with you on that. I don't know much about the farmers.
Are you arguing with me about it, or is it true or false?
It may be true. I don't know. You may be right.
Or maybe, okay.
But that's kind of... But hey, Mace. This is the old whites do it too type of nonsense.
No, that's not what whites do. It was for people, the poor people, and he was poor, and that's where it began.
So you agree that
it wasn't under Kennedy; it was under Johnson.
Do you agree that we shouldn't give poor people all this free stuff, free money and all that?
No, when you give the farmers free stuff, and every government worker and all those politicians up there, they get welfare too. That's why they don't want to leave. That's why they be up there year after year after year after year.
True.
They get welfare, but you know what is that?
Aren't you glad
that's
that
why
Trump...
they don't want nobody else to join in.
Hold on, Mace. Hold on. Aren't you...
the woman that y'all keep talking about.
Just a minute. Wait, hold on. What? Hold your thought on the woman. Aren't you glad that President Trump isn't taking a paycheck but $1 from the government?
He ain't taking one for the dollars. He's taking it for something else. He's still getting government money.
You're never satisfied.
Running the deficit up and everything else. And he keeps hollering what he did for the blacks unemployment is down lower than it ever been before. How many points down low is it? 1 point.
I don't know.
So that means
to be honest,
Obama came in, he pushed it down lower, and he came in, he pushed it lower. So what's the big deal? He's the president to come in, so should push it down.
Honestly,
and your deficit is just going out of control, which I used to be complaining about.
I don't really like...
And who loves America?
Trump loves America. Hold on. I don't like people being... Hold on, Maze. I want to get my thought in because you're going to make me lose my thought. I want.
Oh, okay, I look.
I want. You gotta slow. I'm white and slow. You gotta.
Oh, really?
I don't want people. Oh, man, I already lost it. I don't want people relying on the president to get them jobs. I know that the president and the government can either make it easier or harder on the economy, and I like that Trump has made it easier by getting rid of regulations and restrictions and things, because that definitely has helped. I've heard from a lot of
you don't like
people.
regulations?
Right. I don't like. There's a
That's
whole lot
why
of.
your food, something wrong with your food all the time because you don't have no regulations. Make sure that people not putting stuff in the
Maze,
food and the food is okay.
my
If you
thing
don't like
is-
regulations, good.
My thing
I like
is,
them for just that reason.
there's a whole lot of regulations that are not logical. There's this thing that's called global warming and environmentalism, and that stuff goes like way too far.
With global warming and food, what I got to eat, and every time it's a recall every week, you got recall on cars, you got recall on your food.
Maze,
It's nothing. If you
there's
can eat
there's some
every other week,
there's
it's on the
some
recall
honest
because you don't have no regulations.
there's some honest people in the regulation world, and then there's a whole lot of dishonesty and corruption in the regulation
and a whole
world.
lot of dishonesty.
There's
And
no
when
disputing
when
that.
Your caller called in. What about doing experiments on people? Did he like that during the time that they were doing experiment on people?
They're still doing
we ain't never did
experiments
no
on people.
experiments on
You know,
anybody.
they're still doing experiments on people through abortion, which you happen to support.
Just like I said, you can't have an abortion. You're not trying to have children, so it had nothing to do with you.
It has plenty to do with
And
me.
you're not a woman, unless you plan on doing like
I
this
don't
Kennedy.
care if I'm not a woman. I can tell a woman that it's wrong
And so
to have
you
an abortion.
no say in this situation at all.
Yes, I do.
You want to bring that conversation up? We want to talk about real day-to-day.
Anyway, you wanted to bring up
life.
some woman. You wanted to bring
So
up some
you
woman.
want to talk about abortion, and then you want to talk about the congresswoman. She's
Yeah.
telling the truth about everything she's saying, but
No.
y'all just don't like it.
Nope.
So deal with it.
Nope. She's not telling the truth.
And that's
Because
what you're gonna have to
everything
deal
that they
with.
say
y'all
is
don't know the good. Y'all
you
don't
notice.
know the difference between good and evil.
Okay, Maze. You're
Because evil
referring
is
to.
when you wanna
Hold on.
carry a pistol
Hold on. Let me
around and
address
shoot
what you said
somebody
about
that's doing nothing
this
to you.
woman so-called telling the truth. She told facts. She didn't tell truth. The facts are not
Well,
truth.
what is facts?
Hold on. Okay. Here are some facts. Trump said, "Grab him by the something." He didn't
Well,
say
he
that
said it.
as president. He didn't say it in public. But all the unclassy people are repeating it in public. He said it in private, and he kept it private like a classy person does.
Really? And all
But
the
an
other stuff he said in
unclassy
private
people,
too, I suppose.
an unclassy
It's written down,
people.
he wrote it.
I'm not
So what
done,
are you talking
Maze.
about?
An unclassy people dredges all this stuff up. I don't want to use
They're
dredge.
unclassy. Yeah, I don't think there's nothing classy
Yeah,
about
she's
it.
very unclassy. That Ilhan
And the
Omar
things
woman.
that y'all have to say about her,
Extremely.
she's not worried about you all because she wanted to do what she wanted to do.
If she's
She wanted
not
to go
worried
get the
about
government
us all,
money
then
just
how
like
come
all the
she?
other ones up there,
Hold
and they
on.
don't like what she's doing.
Hold on. If she's not worried about us all, then how come she's talking crap
Why y'all
about
complaining
Trump?
about her?
Sorry for saying the C word.
Why are
Crap.
y'all worried about her? That's how y'all spread hate.
Whatever, Maze.
And then that guy that's
Why are
going
you
to
worried
prison for the
about us
rest of his
being worried
life.
about her?
What you think about that, Thug? Since you like to call people Thug. The one that ran over those people in Carolina. Since you didn't do it on the news this morning, what you think about that, Thug? Because
The
we
one-
should probably go back
you're
and look at his
you're talking
record,
about the
everything he did
Charlottesville
and got
thing?
it expunged.
You're talking about the Charlottesville riot where Antifa kind of made a guy
Oh, the one that got
flip out?
sentenced yesterday.
Huh?
The guy that got sentenced yesterday.
He
for
was
life
sentenced?
in prison. They killed
I
the
thought he was
young lady.
sentenced a long time ago. But anyways,
No,
you're
no,
referring
he
to
got
this
sentenced
this
yesterday. He
white-
got life, which he should. I don't believe in the death penalty, but I do believe in you getting life in prison for walking around harming people and doing things to people that are not doing anything to you. That's
All right.
the best place for them to be
Whatever.
for the rest of their life.
All right, thank you,
But you
Mace.
would probably want them to go to get the death penalty, depending on who it was.
Yeah, I mean, if you commit murder, I
In your
generally
Christian
think
way, yes, you would.
Yeah, I generally think the murderer, where there's no doubt that it was actual murder, and they're referring to James Alex Fields Jr. I don't know if that was murder. I think it might have been manslaughter because he might have just freaked out, or he might have had malice.
Well,
It's
if he
really
wasn't
hard
being
to know.
Stupid, he wouldn't have freaked out.
But-
being led by the devil.
And
as
how
you
about
say.
Antifa being led by the devil to hit his
I don't
car?
know nothing about no Antifa. Don't care nothing about no Antifa.
Isn't
I'm
that
talking about the ones
convenient?
that
You
go
don't
around
know.
killing people.
Very convenient, Mace. All right, Mace, I gotta
But-
go.
That's just a Fox thing. And tell that guy to stop listening to Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson because
No.
they ain't think about them. They just
Those are
on there
nice
getting
people.
paid.
Those are very
Use your
nice
brain. Think
white
for
men.
yourself.
Those white
So
men
y'all
are
have a good one.
contributing to White History Month. All right, take care. Bye. Phew. Brett, first-time caller out of Florida. How are you doing, Brett?
Brett is here, and I'm not a first time. I'm actually a second-time caller.
All right, thank you, man.
It's unenlightened people like that last caller that's going to keep folks back. That woman needs to spend some time really reading the facts and not the dreams.
No, man, I don't think that the reading the facts will help her, because she hears the facts from Jesse all the time. In fact, she hears more than just facts. She hears truth from Jesse all the time, and it's not quite sinking in yet. She wants to lecture us about what we're doing.
I don't think it ever will. I really don't think it ever will. That woman's lost.
Maybe.
She's got her hand so far in the government's pocket, it's not even funny.
I don't know about that. That's kind of like her saying
I
that
can
that's...
tell. She's all that. She's an entitlement person. Give me.
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
It's got to be. There's no other reason to stand up for him anymore. You've got your hand out there.
No,
your
there
whole
is.
life's wrapped up in the government.
Let me tell you, it's more than just the people that want the free stuff. It's the people with the fake compassion that want to give away free stuff from other people's money. It's
there
the
you
socialists.
Go.
Yeah.
My thoughts are easy. We need a much, much smaller government.
Yeah.
We need to cut all these government entitlement programs, put things back into the communities. Back in the day when the church used to come out and people that were in trouble, we'd give them a hand up, not a hand out.
Yeah. We
need to go back to where the whole country had some morals.
Yeah, definitely, man.
It's just bloody-ass ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
I don't know what you just said.
What I called for was not to rant like this, but to refute that guy from Tennessee saying that they take your license here if you have medical marijuana. That's not true.
Oh, okay. That was Kentucky. But, yeah, you know what? I'm just concerned about all this marijuana push, because marijuana does, I believe, I heard, contribute to mental illness in some cases.
I'm on the fence about a lot of that. I do see medicinal purpose in it.
Yeah. But the point is...
I'm a weed smoker, have been all my life.
Man, the point is they're using our weakness against us in order to take more rights away.
Well, it's the idiots that can't use in moderation. It's just they're weed heads like alcoholics. I mean,
yep.
I get how it could get out of hand, and yes, it's a stairway drug. If it's not used in moderation and for its purpose, it's meant for a medicinal purpose.
Yeah. But I like
have seizures that medicine, human medicine, chemicals absolutely will not control, but they can put 2 drops of oil underneath their tongue and haven't had seizures in years.
You know, I'm not for any of that stuff that really affects your body and mind in ways that we don't know. I'm including the THC stuff. I'm including the pharmacy industry. I'm including the alcohol. Even alcohol changes you. CBD, I'm not so sure about. Jesse says that Esteban, when Esteban took it, he felt relaxed, which might not be quite right. But anyways, man, I'm not gonna fight you about this thing. I don't really feel like fighting about the pot thing, but I do like what Jesse says about it. It's very down to earth, sensible thing to say. Is he wants people to be clear-minded, and that's something to fight for.
I don't. If I'm smoking pot, I'm not going to make life-saving or life-changing decisions.
Yeah, but people think that they're inspired by that stuff.
You don't do anything in a fog.
People that are drunk or high, they suddenly feel inspired, and meanwhile it's inspired by the devil.
I'm not into that either. But I don't know. I guess I'm more libertarian thinking than Republican.
Yep.
I think that the government is into too much shit. I think if they get their fingers out of the pie, things would even out.
Yeah.
That and take big corporation out of government. I really think they should be wearing patches on their suit coats so we can tell who the hell is giving them money.
Yeah, man, it's so corrupt. You're so right about that. And
both sides. It's everybody. I do have a good time watching the Democrats disintegrate here these days, but if they look far enough, there's enough Republicans out there with dirty hands too.
Very much so.
Both sides.
I agree. Yeah, it's weird that I never thought.
Both sides are as nasty as the other. Just one happens to be raising more hell.
I never thought that I would be concerned about these corporations infringing on our rights, but it is a legit concern that they're infringing on the rights of people to at least get the word out, kind of. So, anyways, man, nice to hear from you, Brett.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, and you guys have a blessed day. And I do follow the show all the time. I try to catch it every day, but
thank you.
I was a late catcher today, so
no problem. Appreciate the support. Take care.
All righty, you guys have a good one.
All right, you as well. Bye. Sean, out of Washington. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
No, I can barely hear you.
Okay, hold on.
That's better? I'll put you on hold.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right, you're lucky. All right,
Hey,
go
I
for it.
wanted to expand on the conversation we had yesterday about 1984.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about how we're seeing parallels of 1984 today with them infringing on people's rights in the name of the greater good.
Yeah. So I did check out the silent prayer. I did the silent prayer.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, you were the one
And-
concerned about your kids going to public school and getting brainwashed.
Yeah, and I had already been doing the silent prayer before I checked it out, but I agree. I liked it.
Without knowing about it, huh? Cool.
Yeah. And then I also called, called about counseling, and he's supposed to call me back.
Oh, good. Right on. Yeah,
But I
you will
haven't
be
heard
hearing
from him.
back.
But anyways, you had talked about getting right. You know, we have to be right
Yeah.
in order to be good examples for
Yep.
our children.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. But the problem is, in today's society, is they turn women and children against.
Oh, man, he disconnected. That wasn't me. My hands are over here. Sean, if you can get through again, call back. I don't know what just happened to your phone. I was talking about how the leftists are dumb, and then I will get to your calls. The leftists are dumb for believing a word or a phrase can be racist, because who hasn't been told, go back to your country? Even whites are being told this by anti-white brainwashed POCs and liberals and stuff. Go back to Europe. And I bet you even American Indians have been told, go back to your country by people that think that they're not, I don't know, native to this land, I guess, whatever, indigenous. But Trump and Jesse say it with a purpose, go back. Because these people hate America, and they do. They should go away. But LA Times and CNN, I get push notifications from these so-called news organizations, activist organizations, really. They did emotional pieces about people of color, so-called, being told to go back to their countries. And it's basically all to make people mad at decent whites like Trump and decent men like Jesse and call it hate speech. But it's not racist. It can be said with spite or with logic and tough love. And so the media call this racial division. But that's just shallow talk. It's really this division between the Trump type of people, which is the good, decent-minded people, and the Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Ayanna Pressley. Those people, those filthy, dirty women, it's an ideological divide. It's not just white versus the rest of the POCs. It's ideological because the whites tend to be for the freedom, for America, for decency, morality, and these people tend to be for socialism, anti-white stuff, anti-men, anti-Christian, anti-Israel, by the way. And they're too shallow, these media people are too shallow and liberal to see that or to admit it, because shallow and liberal means dishonest. So, anyways, Sean is back out of Washington. Sean, you there? Sean!
Yeah, you hear me?
You're kind of breaking up slightly, but keep trying. Keep talking.
I was saying that the problem is the, like you said, the dirty, filthy women and the biased court systems.
Yeah.
They turn women and children against the fathers.
Are you divorced?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Man.
And I was perceived as guilty in the court of law until I proved myself innocent. Right.
Right. Isn't that the way with men?
So
How they treat men.
I'm a single father, and I got full custody and protection by the law.
Good. Nice.
But I had to go through a lot to get it. I had to prove my innocence.
Yep. You
So
know,
my
it's
point is when you said to be right, you have to be right to be a good example for the children.
yeah.
I agree with you, but that can be really difficult in a society where that is shaming fathers and men.
You know, it's supposed to be kind of difficult because the world is supposed to hate you.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, the world is it is unjust, but it's supposed to be like that. And that's your opportunity, like JC always says, to be perfect in that imperfect situation.
Well, I happen to live in an area of the country that is one of the most liberal.
Washington State?
I live on an island called Vashon Island.
Okay.
And they recently had a insurgent from Antifa that attacked the ICE center.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He was from here.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
People,
and
I don't know how we let these people stay here.
People think he's a hero here.
That is so twisted.
Yeah, and, I'm up against the law here because I face great adversity and discrimination and prejudice.
Yeah, of course.
Just for speaking the truth and being right, just for being right, like you said,
Yeah.
So it's a hard battle,
Yeah, man. I look forward to hearing you as you continue, like, commit to what you were already doing and what you found with the silent prayer, which you liked. And you should hear back from Jesse with the counseling thing. Maybe he can point out something that you may be missing. And I think that you'll start to overcome the world rather than be sounding defeated by all the discrimination and attacks on men, especially whites.
Yeah, I'm not defeated. I'm not giving up. And like I said, I've won a lot of battles already, and I'm continuing to fight.
Yeah. All right, Sean.
But it's just not as simple as, like you said, because it's not always up to me what I can't just take my kids out of public school sometimes without a lot of fight from the courts and the bureaucracy of the corrupt system, So
well, I went to public school my whole life, and then I went to a private school that was pretty liberal, and it was supposed to be Christian. And because my parents were halfway decent, I knew not to accept the liberal stuff. And yes, I was corrupted in some ways by the world because my parents were not perfect. Yeah. And they had corrupted me slightly, and then I went out into the world, and because I was ill-prepared, I became even more corrupt. But the more decent and real you are, that can even help protect your kids, even if they get forced to stay in these public schools.
Yeah, I think the problem I made, was that I had children with 3 different women, and I didn't get married. So then,
and you're a white man?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's amazing. And I learned the hard way, now I know better, but, and I won't do that again, you know what I mean?
I would think not.
But for now, I just have to try to pick up the pieces and do the best I can in the right way.
Yeah.
And hope for the best.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 48 years old.
Okay. All right, man.
My kid, I have a 3-year-old, and my oldest is 25, and then I have a 3-year-old son.
Okay.
That I'm raising on my own, and I want to show him, a good example. So I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to raise them up without putting them in the public school, but it's hard. It's going to be hard as a single father,
Yeah. All right, Sean. Well, buck up. It's White History Month.
Hey, have you noticed it's not okay to be white, right? So they say you have to be white. If you try not to be white, they say, well, you're white. Why aren't you being white? But then if you say, okay, I'm white, then they're like, oh, my God, he said he's white.
Right. They'll get you no matter what. They'll get you coming or going.
Huh?
They'll get you any which way that they can.
Yeah, they don't want you to be proud of being white.
Yeah. But don't be a victim anymore.
But then they don't want you to not be white. They're going to label you as white so they can shame you as white.
Yep. All right, Sean, I got to go, man. Take care.
All right.
All right, bye. Blazing Hawgs out of Ohio. Blazing Hawgs, how are you doing?
James, I'm disappointed you didn't bring up Dayton to Mays.
I didn't bring up what?
City of Dayton to Mays.
You're coming in kind of
Remember-
rough.
Remember I called in, I told you about the FBI did the corruption investigation
Oh,
against
yeah.
the city officials for all the money that they took and gave to all the taxpayer money that they took and gave to their friends, basically.
Yeah.
You didn't bring that up. To
I
her.
I
love
forgot
how you
about
just
that.
Call in on a tangent about food stamps. When
St-
Dayton's
are you
one
on
of the
a
top one.
Blazing Hogs? Are you on a Bluetooth or something, or a
Nope. I'm
speakerphone
at work.
headset? Okay, all right. We'll put up with
I'm
it.
off my Bluetooth. I've been on my Bluetooth. Just
Okay.
But anyways, on another, that.
I'm gonna have to
Dayton
look
right
into
now,
that so it's fresh on my mind when next time I hear
they
from her.
We had a tornado here back in May, and they got all this money still coming into that. I know it's getting misused already.
Oh yeah, there was a tornado that hit part of Dayton, Ohio. Man.
Correct. Went right over my house where I was at, out in the country, way out. But anyways, do you have a website or something that you can go and see all your success stories from Bond, who's doing what, how people are succeeding?
You know, we have a little bit of testimonial stuff at rebuildingtheman.com, and then you'll at some various links, like it might be linked from the About page, I'm quite sure, and maybe if scrolling down on the first page, you'll see some testimonials. You'll see the Entrepreneur Academy page linked as well, which it's not totally up to date because we're so busy doing our thing, but you'll see a little bit about Joel, a little bit about Esteban, the
Just
one
new
here.
people, different
Me.
besides you and Joel. And
You'll
stuff.
see.
Showing
You'll see a little bit
examples
about.
of other success stories.
Yeah, there's Joel has done some compilations of the callers who've called in, a couple of compilations recently over the past year or so, and there are some other stories. We don't have them all in one place. That's like a common sense thing that we should work on building.
Yeah,
but we do have a testimonials page, and they'll see some guys that Jesse married recently, meaning he married the man and the woman. He officiated their wedding. A couple of guys there.
Chalk that up, Marcus Jones. I know you're on there listening.
Oh,
Chalk
yeah.
that up.
Yep. Yeah, so you can go.
Shout-
It's rebuildingtheman.com/testimonials, and you should see a few there. And we have like a lot more that, we just don't have written down.
I understand. I hear it's he says, all I see is James, Joel, and Esteban, who does plumbing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's more than that. Just that on the Entrepreneur
cracks about
Academy. Yeah, there's a few that aren't up there. And, and there's a lot of people that didn't even need to join the academy. They heard the truth from the radio. Maybe one of them called in, Christian from Canton, Michigan. He called in and he got some advice. He took it and ran with it. He built a business, and it's a thriving business now. He hardly calls in because he's so busy. And so there's a lot of people like that are doing their thing, rebuilt. They're calling in all the time, and they're forgiving their parents, going free, becoming real men. And so people, the doubters will always doubt. Huh?
The more examples you have, the better it is.
Yeah.
That's your guys, that foundation.
Yeah, definitely, man.
That's all good. Hey, shout out to the pre-party and shout out to the after-party. No good, my boy.
Right on,
Later,
Blazing Hogs. Nice to hear from you, man. Take care. Oops. I guess I can keep going a little bit. Let me get to Ryan out of Los Angeles, California. We were running out of time, but real fast, Ryan from Los Angeles, first-time caller. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, real fast, man. Get your thoughts in.
So just in respect to the White History Month, I just wanted to bring up something about, I think in order to correct our future, we need to correct the past. And, there's a huge anti-white movement that has been going on for the last, 10 years now.
Yeah.
It's really gaining some traction. And I just think it's very important that we look back in our history. The anti-white sentiment, it's kind of saying, if you're white, go back to Europe, go back to Europe.
Right.
People don't understand something about Native Americans. This is the problem, is that people don't do their research, and most of the left is highly unintelligent.
Yeah.
But they have the microphone. They own the media, they own the news, they own the music.
Yep.
Every single platform, they own it all. So the problem is people don't realize that Native Americans were savages. Now, of course, those are peaceful tribes, but they raped, they pillaged. The first public killing, school shooting, was done by Native Americans.
That
I believe it was the 1700s.
That is so true. That's in the Declaration of Independence. It's documented. They call them Indian savages that were killing without regard to age, condition, gender, or sex, anything. Women, children, old people, disabled, sick, everything. And they were cruel. And so you're making a great point that it was no place to be for the faint of heart, of which most liberals, all liberals maybe, and most conservatives are. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it, Ryan. Take care, man. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
Happy White History Month. Sorry, callers. I'll have to get you tomorrow on the Hake Report, and Jesse will be back tomorrow as well. And make sure you tune in to this 1992 Part 2 of Black History Month Jesse Peterson TV show tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Look out for that premiere on YouTube channel. Thanks. Bye.